Yo, what up? Ogechi here, aka Oaghaji, and I'm here with another video. It's time for another review, and today's review is going to be on the 1978 Hong Kong Kung Fu film classic from the mighty Shaw Brothers Studios, and it's directed by Leung, Heroes of the East. That's right, y'all. We're talking about this film. It's also known in the States as Shaolin Challenges Ninja. And it stars Naozo, aka Gordon Liu, Yasuaki Kurata, Yuka Mizuno, Hitoshi Ōmae, Takeshi Yamamoto, Nobuo Yana, Yujiro Sumi, Manabu Shirai, Yasutaka Nakazaki, Naozo Kato, and Leung. Yes, and it's fight choreography by Leung and Tong Wai-Sing. Written by Kuang, cinematography by Arthur Wong, art direction by Johnson Sao, edited by Chen Xin Lung and Li Yun Hai, makeup Wu Su Chin, produced by Monofong and Sir Run Run Shaw. Yeah, I'm going to use, as y'all can see, the booklet of Volume 1 of the Shaw Scope Blu-ray collection, courtesy of Arrow Video. And I'm going to use the disc, the final disc, disc 8. And it includes Dirty Ho, which I reviewed earlier. Sorry for being tongue-tied, y'all. It's a bit of a long day, and I'm gonna head out in an hour or so. But anyway, without further ado, let's begin. And I'm gonna read the plot with courtesy that's written down by this book, as y'all can see. So I'm gonna read the synopsis of the film and try to avoid the spoilers as much as I can. So yeah, here goes. Hoto marries a Japanese girl, Yumiko, in a marriage arranged by his father, a merchant based in Japan who wishes to cement his business relations with the girl's father, Galten. Hoto is a scholar and martial artist who practices Chinese martial arts. Hoto knew Yumiko in his youth in Japan, but after he was sent back to China for further studies, he forgot about her until his father brought her to China to arrange their marriage. Ho's neighbors think he beats his wife, making her cry out every morning. Ho is surprised by the rumors, and one morning he wakes up early and follows her. He finds her practicing karate and judo and realizes that the cries she makes as she practices are what the neighbors have heard. Ho wants his wife to practice Chinese Kung Fu instead of Japanese martial arts, but she refuses, leading to constant arguments between the couple. One day, Yumiko discovers a martial arts practice room filled with Chinese weapons. She places all her martial arts instruments in the room and puts aside her husband's weapons. When Ho returns home and sees what his wife has done, he is furious and challenges her to a martial arts competition, Japanese style versus Chinese style. After their battle, Yumiko returns to Japan, making Ho's father annoyed and her own father angry. At home in Japan, she practiced her Japanese martial arts with a handsome Japanese martial arts, Taekeno. Ho's father returns to China to scold his son and insists that he bring Yumiko back to China. Ho's servant advises him that Yumiko may return if he writes her a letter, challenging her to another martial arts competition. However, this letter arouses the national feeling of the Japan Martial Arts Association, and it sends a representative of each Japanese fighting style, kendo, karate, judo, etc., to China to take part in the challenge and defend the perceived slight of Japan's martial arts tradition. Sorry, y'all. A little itch. Hoto takes up the mantle of Chinese martial arts and goes up against each of the Japanese fighters, showing his skills and bravery in a series of one-on-one fights. Pretty good description, I would say. And I apologize because, I have to take care of an itch. Anyway, the story in this movie is definitely pretty good in my opinion. It's basically the martial arts version of Taming of the Shrew, basically, which is cool. And the characters definitely get some good development in my opinion, especially Hoto, played by Gordon Liu, and Yumiko, played by Yuka Mizuno. And I also like the character of Takeno, played by Yasuaki Kurata. you know what I'm saying, his dynamic between her and Hoto, you know what I'm saying, and which is cool. And what I like the most about this film, especially, is that, you know, Lao Gaolin was able to showcase his respect for both Chinese and Japanese martial arts, especially at the time in the 70s where, you know, well, a lot of the Hong Kong and Taiwanese martial arts films, you know what I'm saying, you know, they would have their martial arts films that feature Chinese versus Japanese martial arts in a nationalistic way, especially in the case of Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury or Jing Wuman, you know what I'm saying, where he fights against the Japanese fighters and they're basically imperialists, you know, doing, you know, the bad, evil things to the Chinese people. Now, that film didn't portray Japanese people, the Japanese as bad, evil people, but just people doing bad. Instead, they were just doing bad, evil things to Chinese people. There is a difference. But you also have other cases like, you know, Not Scared to Die, you know what I'm saying? And there's also the Chinese boxer, King Boxer, you know what I'm saying? Again, you know, they didn't show them as, portray them as bad, evil people, just people doing bad, evil things, you know what I'm saying? You know, again, you know, Patriot, you know, it makes sense because, damn, I lost my train of thought, y'all. Sorry, I'm all over the place. But anyway, to make a long story short, a lot of this was done because, you know, the Hong Kong people and Taiwanese people, they just got over the fact that, you know, about the Japanese invasion of mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. So it's understandable that the films like Fist of Fury, The Chinese Boxer, you know what I'm saying, King Boxer, and all that, showcase, you know, you know, present their Chinese heroes in a more nationalistic point of view, you know what I'm saying, fight against the, you know, the Japanese imperialists, you know what I'm saying, so, but thankfully, you know, with Heroes of the East, you know, when this came out, times have changed, you know what I'm saying, you know, to showcase a much more balanced view, you know what I'm saying, you know, and Lao Gaolin does it with the power of martial arts, which is cool, you know what I'm saying, and to me, this could only work as a martial arts film and nothing else, you get me? Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. The story, characters, and acting all get a 5 out of 5, you know what I'm saying? Now, the action in this film is just phenomenal, you know what I'm saying? It's a great showcase for both Chinese and Japanese martial arts, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's not just with the hand-to-hand martial arts styles, but also the weapon styles as well, you know what I'm saying? Like the spears, swords, you know, all this other stuff, especially during the final fight between Gordon Liu and Yasuaki Kurata. Y'all don't want to miss that. And the film as a whole was shot very well. Shot mostly in the Shaw Bros Studios, but it was also shot in Japan as well, you know what I'm saying? As well as probably it's like, you know, the new territories in Hong Kong, which is awesome. Man, that's all I gotta say about that. But also, the fight scenes were edited well, shot well, and lit well. You know what I'm saying? So no complaints there. So the action, cinematography, editing, and lighting all get a 5 on a 5. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the final fight at the end. Y'all gotta watch this movie to know what I'm talking about. You know, the music in this is also pretty good. It uses like traditional Chinese music, Japanese music, as probably some library music, if I remember correctly. Maybe not. But it's mostly just traditional and Chinese and Japanese music, you know, that's been composed here. And it's done very well. So the music definitely gets a 5 out of 5. Overall, Heroes of the East is an awesome 1978 Hong Kong Kung Fu film classic from Shaw Bros. And by the director Lao Gaolin. I highly recommend y'all checking this out, especially if you're a fan of Lao Gaofai, aka Gordon Liu, for his roles in 36 Chamber of Shaolin and many other films, especially the Kill Bill films. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should definitely check it out for its portrayal, for its respectful portrayal for both Chinese and Japanese martial arts. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah, this film gets a 5 out of 5. Hopefully y'all enjoy this review, you know what I'm saying? I apologize for the brain farts being tongue-tied and itching and all that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, with all that said, Let me know what y'all think about Heroes of the East in the comments below. If y'all watched it already, hit that like button if you like this video. Share it. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell to keep y'all notified. You know what I'm saying? Follow me in my other social media accounts, and stay tuned for more other reviews and more other videos along the way. So with all that said, this is your boy Ogechi Aghaji, aka Oaghaji, signing out. Peace.